have a Jamaican passport, Margolin? And when you travel to the UK, do you use your UK citizenship or do you go and get a visa like the rest of us? I travel on a Jamaican passport whenever I travel nowadays. Since I came into government in 2012, I decided I was not going to use the UK passport, and I've maintained that. I have a diplomatic passport as a minister, and then as a leader of the opposition, I got one again. I have a UK visa in my Jamaican diplomatic passport. I was in the UK 2 years ago for a tour. I went up on that visa. I had to apply for it. I had to go to the office here and go through all the biometrics like everybody else and what have you. So I have a US visa in my Jamaican passport. I have a 10-year visa as well, and in my diplomatic passport. So I travel on my Jamaican. And in fact, I'm not intending to renew my UK passport. It expires this year.
Every morning that I wake up, there is a song in my heart. And there's a song that, it happened to many, I'm sure it happened to many of us, that you wake up with a particular song on your mind, and for the whole day, that's the whole damn song. You're humming, you're singing, you're sweeping, you're washing plate, you're sorting out dinner thing, you're taking up garbage, you're looking after dog. It's the same song, just in your heart, in your mind, in your head, and you keep, just go and sing it. So this morning, the song that I woke up with, it never started as I jump up out of the bed. It started when I went into the bathroom. That's where the song starts. And the song is Whitney Houston song. Whitney Houston was the greatest, eh? And it's the song about I go to the rock. The words of it are, where do I go when there's nobody else to turn to? Who do I talk to when nobody wants to listen? Who do I lean on when there's no foundation stable? I go to the rock. I know he's able. I go to the rock. Of course, that's the only part I know to my head, right? If you start singing loud, you will it will come back to you eventually. But in terms of what's in my head, that's the only part I can remember. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely song, and that's the song in my heart today. And I want to share it with you, and hope that it brings you some comfort and brings you a little bit of relief in terms of those who are facing any kind of fallout from Miss Beryl. And that's what I want to leave you with, all of you with that. But hello, Karen Cecilia here, and we are at part 2 of our expose, or what you call it, series, or whatever you want to call it. I need to find a proper name for it, because this is part 3, talking about dual citizenship, and it's all leading to where Mark Golding is now, and we're going to get to that part very, very shortly. And I hope you enjoyed part 1 and 2. It has been a long journey, because I want you to tie all the parts and pieces together and see where I'm coming from and where all of this is going and all the rest of it. So I hope you enjoy it and continue to enjoy it. All British citizens, whether by birth or descent or naturalization, can run to be Prime Minister of Britain. Let me repeat that for you. All British citizens, whether by birth, descent, or naturalization, can run to be Prime Minister of Britain. Please remember to like the video, share it if you think it's worth sharing. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so, and leave me a pithy comment, all right? Leave a pithy comment, and give the video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends and family. So, anybody in Britain who's a citizen of Britain, whether through birth or descent or naturalization, you can be Prime Minister of Britain. You can join a party. That party could elect you as the party leader. That party, and Britain have 7 or 8 different parties that covers the entire United Kingdom. Depends on where you're going to be in. If you're in Scotland, you could join the Scottish National Party. You could join the Green Party. You could join Nigel Farage Reform Party. You could join the Conservatives. There's a Liberal Party, and there is a Socialist Party, which is the Labour Party, which is now the party of government. So you can join and they can become prime minister. All Commonwealth citizens who are also British citizens can indeed run for prime minister in Britain. You can be. But with all of that opportunity that exists for all Commonwealth citizens and people of color, black people, people that have migrated to Britain and become British citizens, with all of that opportunity that is available to them to do that, none of these people can advance to that level. None have been successful in advancing to that level. Why is that? Really, why is that? Why that no black person, say from Cameroon, ever join one of those parties and say want to run for a seat, and them give him a seat and him win and them make him be leader of him party and him become prime and him can run for prime minister? Why is that? Why is that? I'm going to tell you why. Because outside of the regular British-born white people, the other few are upper class men and some women and aristocrats like, David Cameron and Sunak, Rishi Sunak. Yes, Rishi Sunak is Indian, but he is very British and very upper class and very rich. And then there is a bombastic mad scientist with a rich history, rich family history and old money like Boris Johnson. And those people can succeed to those levels. But what about black people that immigrate to Britain and become successful? Because there are quite a few successful African men and women in Britain who are interested in politics but can't reach that far. Mark Golding, because they know that they can't possibly succeed at that level. So nobody's going to do it. Yeah? Mark Golding is a British-born white man who have successfully lied and deceived his way into the Jamaican political landscape. And now he wants to be prime minister. And some in our country want him to be prime minister. Some even want it more than him, because it's all about politics and it's all about power. Others are supporting the idea that he can be, in spite of our constitution saying that he is disqualified to be so as a British citizen. And the breach in our constitution by his election as member of parliament is something that they want to ignore. So, let's look at the Jamaican constitution, section 40, subsection 2. And it says very clearly, no person shall be qualified to be appointed as senator or elected as a member of the House of Representatives who, by virtue of his own act, under any acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to a foreign power or state. And you get that? I'm sure you do. This is the very section of our constitution that Mark Golding used when he was threatening Norman Horn to take him to court should Norman refuse to relinquish the Senate seat that he held on appointment from Peter Phillips. This very section of this constitution that Mark Golding was using against Norman Horn. I'm going to get back, when we get down further, you're going to see the hypocrisy of it all. Mark wanted to appoint Bunting to the Senate, and he hounded Norman on to give up the seat. And those very same premise and those very same arguments about the Constitution. My Lord, had we known then what we know now, this would be a different video, wouldn't it? What you, the Jamaican people, need to understand is that at the time that Mark Golding was hounding Norman Horn, he was also deceiving us, the Jamaican people, knowing full well that he himself holds a dual citizenship and swore allegiance to a foreign power. Mark Golding's pushback now is that he is a citizen of the Commonwealth, as opposed to Norman Horn, who is a citizen of the United States. Two different things, same constitution, same principle, same law, same everything. Doesn't matter which country it is. It's the same thing. The Constitution clear. So let me read it back to you. It never say people from one place and people from another place. No person This is the Constitution. No person shall be qualified to be appointed as senator, or elected as a member of the House of Representatives, who, by virtue of his own act, under any acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to a foreign power or state. Get it? Yet he was pushing back and saying that, he's a Commonwealth citizen and he's qualified to be Prime Minister. But Norman Hahn was not qualified because Norman Hahn is a citizen of the United States and him, Mark, is a citizen of the United Kingdom, and he believes that it is two different things. And when we reach on to the part where he announced to the NEC that he's renouncing, you're going to hear him suggest something like that. It doesn't qualify him to be Prime Minister. Not only is he wrong because the Constitution had just debunked that with the Constitution, firmly debunked it. So not only is Mark Golding wrong, he knows full well it's a lie. And you will hear as I go along why he knows, how we know that he knows it's a lie. So, I would like to present to you a case that took place in Australia in June 1999. Now, Australia, like Jamaica, is a member of the Commonwealth. Australia is not only a country. Australia by itself is an entire continent. I know. My niece lived down there. An entire continent. In this case in Australia, an ordinary citizen by the name of Henry Sue felt that Mrs. Heather Hill, who was just recently elected to the Senate, was indeed a dual citizen who became an Australian citizen just a short time before the election. He felt that the Senate seat should not be hers because she's a dual citizen. That Senate seat was contested by about 8 persons. The citizen, Mr. Sue, contends that Mrs. Hill was not qualified to be on the ballot at the time of her nomination because at the time of her nomination, she was a dual citizen. Few weeks before the nomination, she was just a citizen of Britain. Apparently, Mrs. Hill was born in the UK but lives and works in Australia. Like Mark Golding, she was under the impression that being a Commonwealth citizen qualifies her to sit in the Australian Parliament with her British citizenship. What makes this case similar to Mark Golding's case is that if she actually believed that she could do it on her British citizenship, the question must be asked, why then did she went and got her Australian citizenship just a few weeks before the elections? In the end, the Australian court ruled that Mrs. Hill was disqualified from holding the seat on the grounds that she's a dual citizen whose loyalties lies in Britain. The court was not impressed either that a few weeks before the election, that's when she decided to become an Australian citizen after living there for many years. Similar case to Mark Golding, who didn't go get his passport until he became a minister of government. All the years he has been here, he never held a Jamaican passport until he was in his 40s, when Portia appointed him a minister of government. The court's decision was not only based on her disqualification as a British citizen and her loyalties to Britain, but also she became an Australian citizen just weeks before the elections. Court was not impressed by it because it is a clear thing that she hid all of that from the voters and she knew that she couldn't be, and she decided to go play the 2 cards. And that's what she got. The Australian Constitution, like the Jamaican Constitution, is clear on that. In section 44(1) of the Australian Constitution says, it prevents any person, and I'm quoting, any person who is a citizen of a foreign power, and I'm a foreign power in quote unquote, from being elected to the Australian Parliament. The Australian Constitution says, section 44(1), that the Constitution prevents any person who is a citizen of a foreign power from being elected to the Australian Parliament. And for the purposes of that section of the Constitution, the United Kingdom is a foreign power. End of argument. Done. Like Mark Golding, Mrs. Hill, I said that, was born in England, and as an adult, she repeatedly renewed her British passport and then did not become an Australian citizen until a few weeks before the elections. I just had to repeat that for you. The court ruled that she was ineligible. The court ordered that the Electoral Office do a recount and that the seat be awarded to the person who came second out of the 6 or 8 persons that contested the seat. So in other words, the court threw her out of Parliament and give it to the guy who came second. So if she got 506 votes, the guy who got 505 got the seat. And that was that. And that's the end of that. The same arguments that were put forward in this case in Australia are the very same argument that we have against Mark Golding. No two way about it. As I said, Australia is a member of the Commonwealth. One of the more prominent members of the Commonwealth, right up there with Jamaica. The British monarchy and Britain itself values Australia, New Zealand, Jamaica, Zimbabwe, Kenya, them places. Those are the top places that the British people them value that alignment with us. So let's look at the same arguments that put forward in against Sue versus Hill and won Mr. Sue's case. The same argument against Mark Golding. The United Kingdom is a foreign power. Plain and simple. It is a foreign power. Holding a UK passport is an acknowledgement of allegiance to that foreign power. His continual renewal of his British passport is a clear defiance of the Jamaican Constitution to giving homage to the foreign power. By renewing his passport several times, it is a clear acknowledgement of his allegiance to the UK and not Jamaica. All the time that he was renewing it, he never held a Jamaican passport until the last time that he renewed his passport, his British passport. That's when he thought that he should get a Jamaican passport because he knew full well what he was doing. A liar. He went to Oxford. They must have taught him something at Oxford. Something must have been taught at Oxford, man. Several times he renewed. But in the same breath, like Mrs. Heather Hill in Australia, by his own act of not holding a Jamaican passport until he was in his 40s, is an acknowledgement that he does not consider himself a Jamaican citizen. Let me just repeat that to you. If he waited until he was in his 40s to get a Jamaican passport, and he would not have gotten one had he not been appointed a minister of government. He didn't get one when he was appointed as a senator in 2007. He kept his British passport because he had just renewed it 3 years before in 2004. When he became a minister, that passport still have some years on it. He became a minister, he still had 2 more years on it before he renewed it. And he went right ahead and renewed it. He renewed it in 2004, then he renewed it in 2014 after he became a minister. Right ahead, and he knew exactly what he was doing. And he never cared. Guy not really take where are you that? We don't know nothing. We're the master, we're the slave. And by that act of not holding a Jamaican passport until he was in his 40s, that is also an acknowledgement that he does not consider himself a Jamaican citizen. Therefore, at the time that he was nominated in August 2020, he was already disqualified to be on the ballot. The same argument that the Australian court held up in 1999 with this private citizen, one little man. I've been trying to find out if he actually live in the constituency where she's from. I can't seem to get that. We're still looking to see if he live in the constituency. But we assume that he must have lived in the constituency. Or maybe it would be better if he not live in the constituency. He is a brave citizen. Brave citizen. I want to have no brave citizen not coming forward to carry my court. When he was nominated in August 2020, he was disqualified to be on the ballot. For all to see, his deceptions and lies were laid bare. So let's go back. Because you know me not going to make you forget it. It is my duty and responsibility to make sure that Jamaican people keep this in the forefront of their mind. His lies and his deceptions, and they were all laid bare. So let's start back again. 1. He became a senator in 2007. He was not qualified when he did that. 2. He became a member of parliament in 2011-2012. He was not qualified to do that. 3. He became a minister in 2012. He was not qualified. Yeah, member of parliament 2011, minister in 2012. 4. He became leader of the PMP in 2020. He was not qualified to hold either none of those positions at the time that he got those appointments. And so, the dam was cracked in September 2020 when some discussion started taking place, and Mark Golding first declared these words, September 2022, where he said, and I'm quoting from what he said that as a child, I had a British passport. When I became an adult, I got a Jamaican passport. Now let me just pause there, so that is not the full sentence, but we'll go through the sentence, his statement, we'll go through it slowly so that you can understand it. You get me? Okay. As a child, I had a British passport. As a child, I had a British passport. We are to assume from that statement that as a child, his parents, mostly his father, got him a British passport. Okay? Acceptable, true, good, all right, as a child. But he left it at that. And he jumped right over to the next session. When I became an adult, I got a Jamaican passport. So as a child, he had a British passport. By leaving it there, sir, he's suggesting to us that he got a British passport as a child, which would have been given to him by his parents, and he's leaving it hanging to suggest for us dunce people to suggest that him not get nonsense. I mean, if a man make a statement like that to you, and ask him what go on, no, you would assume that him saying to you, boy, I'm going to get a passport when I pick me. But I no more now. But him never say no more now. Him never go into him whole lie mode. Him just leave it for us to assume. And some people would make that assumption. Some of his supporters would say, all right, see them say him get a British passport when he was a child. So whatever war with the man for. And then you would understand that he said it when he got it as a child and suggest to us that him don't get no more since then, which is a lie. Then he went on to say in the statement, when I became an adult, I got a Jamaican passport. When I became an adult, I got a Jamaican passport. An adult in Jamaica is age 18. An adult in Jamaica is age 18. That's when the Constitution and the laws of this country recognize you as an adult. At age 18, Mark Golding renewed his passport that he got as a child. I want you to follow me, his statement, this, this is not nobody make up out him and we are conjecture or guess or wonder if he means something or said something. This is what he said. As a child, I got a British passport. Full stop. When I became an adult, I got a Jamaican passport. An adult in Jamaica is age 18. He did not get a Jamaican passport until he was in his 40s. But when he reached age 18, he certainly did renew his British passport that he got as a child, because it would have been expired. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say him father didn't get him the passport till he was 1, so that passport expired when him 10, and him father get him back a next passport when he was 10, and that would have expired when he was 20. Let's say that. Him not say that. Him leave that for us to think otherwise. It's a whole psychology thing. And then he said, as an adult, I got a passport, which would suggest that him get a passport when he was 18. I mean, any person would make that assumption. All right, as an adult, him get a Jamaican passport. He became an adult in 18. At 18. At 18, him renewed him British passport. And at 18, him still have a Jamaican passport. So this entire part of this statement that him just said is all a lie and all set up to deceive us. When I became an adult, I got a Jamaican passport. And since I have become involved, this is the next part of his statement. Is his statement I read it. And since I have become involved in representational politics, I no longer maintain. Follow me, you know. And since I have become involved in representational politics, I no longer maintain my UK passport and will not be renewing it. Blah, blah. We could go back. Since I have become involved in representational politics, I no longer maintain my UK passport. He had the UK passport from 2014. After he became a member of Parliament. You see that line now? Since my involvement in representational politics, I no longer maintain my UK passport. Not a lie. Because he renewed his passport in 2014 while he was a minister, a representative of the people in Parliament, in Senate, a minister of government. Well, they not elect him yet. It was an appointment, but it's the same thing based on the laws of the country. It's the same thing based on the laws that remove this lady out of the Senate in Australia. This whole entire statement was meant to deceive and to lie to us. Now, if the whole thing never bust out, I am sure that he would have been renewing his British passport this year in 2024. He would have been. And him start to talk about him born at university, hospital. But just look at that statement that I was read you. That is what he said. That's the first thing he said, and he said it in 2022. Okay. And then the dam got a little crack because those were his words. On May 20th, 2024, he admits that he's a dual citizen. On that same day that he admitted that, he says he's compliant with the laws and our constitution. Basically, him admit that I'm a dual citizen, and him saying to us, I am a dual citizen, but I'm a Commonwealth citizen, so nothing wrong that I have my British passport and can be Prime Minister. That's basically what he was saying. In the same breath, on the very said day, because I think we are idiot. He's compliant. Him start use that word, and him get the pedophile for go there and use that word too. The fact of the matter is Mark Golding not breaking any laws, and you know the pedophile talk. Always look like him gonna fall down. I look like him mouth dry or something. You know? Then on the next day, May 21st, 2024, Mark Golding says he is willing to renounce his British citizenship if necessary. May 21st, 2024, willing to renounce his British citizenship if necessary. Still not considering it necessary. Still don't believe that him have to do it. 10 days later, May 31st, Mark Golding says he's in no rush to renounce his UK citizenship because he is compliant with the Constitution. So there goes that compliant argument again. So we'll start back again. May 20th, admit that he's a citizen, dual citizen. May 20th, compliant with the laws and Constitution. Yeah, I have a British citizenship, but I can't run for Prime Minister. I can't be Prime Minister because I have Britain and I have Commonwealth and I have Jamaica and whatever else you want to sell. So in one day, that was that argument. Then the next day, I'm willing to renounce if it becomes necessary. Then 10 days later, I'm not in a rush to renounce my UK citizenship because I'm compliant with the Constitution. And of course, the pedophile come to video and back him up on that. I'm compliant, you know. I'm a UK citizen, and we're all Jamaicans and we're all world citizens, and Jamaica should start moving away. I mean, that's his argument, which is why he hired those half idiots down in the diaspora to go demonstrate and protest against Jamaica. The most overwhelming thing in this saga is the timeline by which all these events have now descended upon us. That's the most overwhelming thing. And I promise you that this would be a 3-part thing. We've gone 29 minutes already, and I don't know if it will be. So you will bear with me. If I reach 40 minutes and I say that I'm not going to finish, we're going to go over into our next section. So let's just continue and see what happens. This overwhelming thing came upon us. How he hid the fact that he is a British-born citizen. How he hid it. And why there's nothing that he can say to us that we would believe him now, because he has consistently lied and consistently sought to deceive. Everything and every word out of his mouth was carefully coined to deceive us, because we're idiots. We never got Oxford. We never got Oxford, so we're idiots. So look at it. He hid it from Portia. He became a senator in 2007. Portia went out there and talked about dual citizenship. She never said British. No, she said dual citizen have no role in our parliament, in our parliamentary life. She have a problem with dual citizens, but them have no role in our parliamentary life. That is a year after he became a senator. And he hid it from Portia. He never went to Portia and asked Portia to clarify for him. He never went to the lawyers in the PMP and said, could you guys clarify for me if dual citizen mean that British people can't be in parliament either? He never did. Why? He knew that it couldn't. He knew that he was not qualified to be there. He knew, and that is why he hid it. He hid it from Peter Phillips. Hid it from Peter Phillips. Never said a word about it. He hid it from PJ, who helped him became leader of the party. He hid it from PJ, one of the most astute lawyers in the Caribbean region. He hid it from the PMP delegates, all our own licky delegates, who take him money and run up behind him and voted against Lisa Anna for him. He hid it from you. And he could, because no son him have no ticket, $10,000, $15,000, and who know that. Him no have no pot. Nothing could have derail it. And he hid it from you guys. I no matter to no. Well, let me not say that. I don't know if so. Well, some people have said to us that, they never know these things, and they probably wouldn't understand it at the time. And then last, but by no means the least, probably the worst, is that he hid it from the Jamaican people. You, the Jamaican people, got him going to be asked to come out to vote for the PMP. He hid it from you guys as well. And up to this day, up to this very day, this day, July 9th, 2024, he has not expressed any remorse. Not one iota of remorse about the lies and the deceptions that he put out there for you, the Jamaican people, to consume. And he has not expressed any remorse. As a matter of fact, every time he open his mouth, he whine. Sound like a whiny bitch. Talking about how this should not be. And diaspora and all kind of crap. He has not apologized yet to Norman Horn for what he did to Norman Horn in trying to get that Senate seat for Bunting. He has not expressed an apology to Norman Horn. He has not apologized to the Jamaican people. He has not apologized to the People's National Party members and delegates. They don't want to know nothing. They don't want soul nothing. He can't just carry on. He can't just carry on. Then, in the whole saga we're talking about, then he went to pray. He went to pray, declaring that he is his father's son. I am my father's son. I am my father. My father got me this thing, and my father gave me this thing, and I am compliant, and I am my father's son. I am my father. In other words, in what business would we? And with what we want to say, him is him father. And his father got him this thing, and the business nobody want to say, because his father got him this thing. And there we go. That's what. It continued. It continued like that for weeks. His defiance, Mark Golding's defiance, he continued to whine and defy the wishes of the Jamaican people. He continued, every time he opened his mouth, he started talking about diaspora. And start to question our educational standard. start to question our independence, start to talk about how we fool. So basically, we're saying we're stupid. I can't go around the corner with you. Basically, I said, well, we are idiot. What I'm doing? This is a modern world where everybody should just live everywhere and can run for anything and be anything. That's basically what I'm saying to it. It don't matter what the Constitution say. We should just chill and make everybody just live and whatever. Ah. Now he is currently sitting in our parliament illegally sitting in our parliament under allegiance to Britain. Because in spite of the fact that he put out one passport, we still not see and he put out birth certificate, he could have put out 1 million birth certificate. We're not believing him that in Barnia. And I have a copy of the birth certificate, and there's some whole information missing from that birth certificate. I don't know which one him give them have a put out. Him not care about us. Not busy with Jamaican. And as I sit here now to tell you this is now 35 minutes worth of video. I'm not going to go further than 40 minutes, 41 minutes. So therefore, I'll have to come back again and finish the final section of all of this. Because after over 6 weeks of resisting the national sentiment, after over 6 weeks of resisting what the Jamaican people feel to be right, after 6 weeks of trying still to deceive and lie and trying to get out of it, after 6 long weeks, he announced at the NEC meeting that he intends, and I want to put that word in quotation, he intends to renounce his British citizenship. After 6 weeks. After 6 weeks of pushing back and calling us dunce and throwing shades at us that we're not modern and we're not with the time. After 6 weeks of deceptions and deflecting and lying, he went to the NEC to tell that foolish body. I never thought in all my years, I've sat on the NEC for 20-something years, I never thought I would see this in the life of the PNP, where a leader can come to the NEC after 6 weeks of swirling, what the PNP people say, controversy. Appear controversy upon the leader, controversy upon the general secretary, in galang about in business, a source of controversy. Lord, Miss Karen, a controversy, have a controversy, we can't take it no more. A labor used to have controversy, we have too much controversy. Boy, I tell you, I should go on, and she see me sometime, I hide for drive past her. I tell you. So after 6 weeks of resisting the sentiments of the Jamaican people, he went to the NEC meeting and he announced that he intends to renounce his British citizenship. I close with this. The one document that stands supreme in our land of Jamaica is our Constitution. And that's the only document that matters when it comes to right and wrong and law. Well, sometimes it's not exactly in line with right and wrong, but, that's the only document we have. Our Constitution. It stands supreme in our land. And I will see you soon for the next section. Thank you for listening to my rant. God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody, and keep the children safe.